if you don't know what to do, you know what you can do? Do something today that tomorrow you'll be grateful for. And keep doing it every single day. Momentum. I am going to continue talking about momentum because that is the thing. Don't worry about like a far distant goal. Don't worry about that just yet because it could change. What you can do right now is have momentum on building your good karma. Okay? So whether that's eating healthier today because tomorrow your body will love it. That means putting $10 in your savings. That means tomorrow you'll have money. You know, just building on that positive cycle, okay? Because, my friend, it's not about a goal. It's about momentum, progress, no matter how slow, okay?
Hey, Rych Babes, it's Robin Milan, and welcome back to a Rich Girl's Glow Up. Ooh. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe if you ever felt like success is taking freaking forever to find you, and share this with another rich babe who just needs the motivation to keep going, because today we're going to be talking about the law of momentum, okay? Because sometimes it's not that it's not working. It's just that it hasn't built up enough speed yet, okay? Period. And I didn't fully get that until I ran into my cousin at the store the other day. And this is what he said. First of all, hey, cuz. You're my inspiration. I love you so much. All right. So he really changed my entire perspective. And so I'm going to share this along with you. So let's go ahead and get started in this video, and I'll be back shortly.
I heard God say momentum. Somebody say momentum. God told me that what started in 2024 was just momentum for what he's going to do in your life in 2025. God told me if you leave everything behind, we're going to have to start from scratch. But if you dare be like the children of Israel who passed through the Jordan River and picked up a stone, if you take that into 2025, I hear God saying that it's going to be momentum for what he's going to do in your life. I hear God saying that you are not starting from scratch in 2025, that he that began a work in you is going to complete it. And I need you to get ready. Get ready, 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 get ready. Because when God does things, he doesn't do small things. When God does things, he doesn't do medium things. When God gets ready to blow your mind, he makes sure that he does it big. Turn to your neighbor and say, we serve a big God who does big things. So get ready for bigger and greater in 2025.
Creating consistency, creating momentum. The more momentum that you can put behind you, the more energy you can create, the more consistent you can be, the better off you'll feel about you, the better off you'll feel about your confidence, the better off you'll feel about your purpose. Like, you just have to stay consistent because you have to build that momentum. But you have to know first is, what does my best self even look like? What does the person who is living my dream, the me in however many years, what does she look like? What does she do? How does she think? How does she talk? How does she act? What kind of mother is she? All of those things, what kind of leader, businesswoman, all of that, and say, what does that look like for me today? What habits can I implement in my life today that position me to being the person who is actually the woman I dream to be? And the sooner you can figure that part out, and I can help hold you accountable for that, that's when we'll start making those strides and building the momentum. And then pretty soon you'll look back and be like, oh, shoot, remember when? And that's what we want to get to, right? Is that remember when, in saying, I remember when we first, got here, right? And that's my job as a coach, is to help hold you accountable for being the person that you want to be, right? And shining some light on those areas and continuing to help cut the fat on the areas that are I don't know if that's it. I don't know if that aligns with you being your best self, right? And then also helps instill some confidence in you through empowerment and encouragement.
Okay, so we are naturally going to be pushed and pulled towards habits, routines, mindsets, beliefs, all of the things that we have momentum built behind. Momentum is built based on things that you have done repeatedly. So let's say you are wanting to start a new kind of health and fitness routine, but you haven't worked out in 3 years. You have more momentum built up behind choosing not to work out than you do choosing to work out. So this is how we shift the momentum and make it easy for you to make the choices that you actually want to make. First, you have to recognize that momentum is built behind choices that you don't want to make anymore. So your autopilot response is going to be to pick the choices that you are used to making. So we have to be aware that our mind is going to push us towards that certain old choice, the way the current in the ocean would pull you in a certain direction. We have to choose consciously at first to move against the current. Everything is telling you to make that old choice because all of the momentum, all of the current is pushing you in that direction. You consciously choose to swim against the current. It's gonna be fucking hard at first. You're basically changing the direction of the ocean, okay? But with each time you choose that new choice and you say no to the direction that the current is pushing you in, that old choice, you build more and more momentum in this new direction, and there's less momentum backing that old choice. Each time you choose the new habit, the new choice, it gets easier and easier and easier. Eventually, the momentum's going to be split 50-50. And before you know it, you're going to hit what I like to call the tipping point, where there is now all of a sudden more momentum behind this new choice than there is the old choice. This is when this new choice becomes automatic for you. And as abruptly as it seems to happen once that tipping point hits, in the process of it, it's very gradual. This is why it can feel like when we are in the process of building that new momentum, like nothing's happening, like we are constantly swimming against the current. But this is why not giving up is so important. You have no idea when that tipping point is just about to hit. When you have 40% momentum behind that new choice and 60% momentum behind that old choice, that old habit, that old way of being, that old belief, old mindset, it's still going to feel like you're swimming against the current. But you are literally just one choice away from the momentum now being stronger behind that new choice. But if you go back to that old choice, that old way, you just begin building more momentum behind it again. So the key here is do not give up. Keep swimming against the current, and before you know it, really, it happens like that. The momentum will shift, will back you, and it'll just roll easily for you from there.
I ran into my cousin, okay, big cuz energy, okay, one of those been through some things type of man, all right? So I love him so much. He is such my inspiration. He looked at me and said, cuz, you good? I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm just tired. And he was like, I was just like, I'm ready to be in that position. Like, I'm doing the work, but it's dragging, and I'm ready for the results. I'm exhausted. And he looked at me with a stern face and was like, and said something that just, I would never forget. He said, I had a season just like that too. Then one day I got a call, and that call led to another opportunity. Then another one, and another one. Okay, period. And it just never stopped. And he said that I had to stay in it long enough for the momentum to finally catch up with me. And I said, whew. That hit my spirit like a sermon, girl. Do you hear me? This is exactly what I needed to hear, because I was already crying in the car on the way to the store. Because that's the thing about momentum. It doesn't show up all the time, okay? It doesn't show up all at once. It builds, it's slow, it's silent. But once it gets moving, it's like a little snowball. Start off real small, then it go down the hill, and it multiplies, okay? It multiplies everything that you've been doing. That conversation made me realize that I'm not failing, that I'm gaining momentum. And the same thing goes for you, Rych Babes.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. I wanted to talk to you today about how we can get momentum from our action. So when you think about just scientific principles, right, an object in motion stays in motion, and that its resistance to change direction and speed is called, I think, the law of inertia. But the thing that I think about is when you think about people that are successful, or when you've been successful at something, and however it is you define success, right? Everyone defines it differently. There's something about momentum and motion that is really powerful. So when we start moving, we start picking up confidence, right? And then we want to keep moving because we're feeling powerful and driven and motivated. So I want you to think about that when you're having a hard time starting. That's normal. But when you do something one step at a time, you're going to start picking up momentum. And then you're going to slowly become confident about your gains. And that's going to lead you to incredible gains over time, right? So think about that, like that whole idea of momentum, how critical it is just to start, just starting movement, right? And then you pick that up and you keep going. And then before you know it, you are an object in motion that will not stop. I believe in you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
You really can't pray to eat or pray for a full stomach and then get mad when your plate is full. But bro, it's so weird to be in a place where like your younger self would be so proud of where you at now, but your older self really needs you to lock in. I just saw a quote that said the magic you've been looking for is hidden behind all that work you've been avoiding. There's magic behind these dishes, but then it's like, wait, this is so real. The pain of dealing with that full plate will never hurt as bad as the pain of regret of knowing I left blessings on that table. Because the magic, bro, is momentum. And I'm finally getting that. Like, it's like, bro, the more consistent you are, the easier it is to stay consistent. You know what I'm saying? The more shots I put up in the gym, the easier it is to become a better shooter, right? And it's like, you don't have to do the work. That's why it's so easy to fall into these pipelines, like these alpha male pipelines or soft life pipelines, where it's like, oh, you're not the prime, all the women in your life are the prime. You're not the prime, your circumstances are the prime, right? But on the flip side, when you really face the work and you really keep a real, raw, authentic approach to these things, you do things the right way. Yeah, you never gonna finish your plate as fast as the next man. They throwing food off the side, but you just can't cheat the magic of knowing you kept your heart pure, you did it your way. And I know not everybody gonna feel that, but I make content for a specific demographic. The hustler's gonna feel every word. That's why I make these videos.
There is something magical and mystical about what happens when you just string a few sort of actions together that are self-esteem building or moving you towards a certain goal, even if they're super tiny, right? Like you create this momentum and that momentum builds. Suddenly you're more enthusiastic about taking that next step than you were one step prior because you did these two. It could be tiny. It could be like I brush my teeth, you know, in the whatever it is that you're struggling with. And then you do that. It's like this idea of self-esteem is a function of doing esteemable acts. And those esteemable acts can be on behalf of yourself, right? And when they're small, but those things, they really build in this compounding kind of way that can really redirect your life. So it is really important to start small.
Next thing you know, we take a shot, boom, touchdown, and the game started. Momentum, you called it, started swinging. I don't care how bad stuff been. January crazy. March was off the chain. June gave you a headache. I speak one moment can swing your momentum. Matter of fact, somebody was gonna stay at home today and wasn't even gonna come to church, wasn't even gonna log on. You was sitting there saying, I ain't finna sit in overflow, but some of your spirit said, let me bust a move. And God said, cause you bust the right move, I'm getting ready to swing something in your favor. Your next praise ain't for a house, it ain't for a car, it ain't for some money, a man or a woman, but God shift my moments so I can walk in my momentum. Thank you, Rod. So hear me, somebody say moments. Momentum is how I manage yeah, that's rich. How I handle my moments, managing the little moments. God gives momentum moments so I can gain momentum. So what do we see in our text today?
You can't build momentum because you're avoiding the work that's necessary. You're too busy trying to find shortcuts and fucking hacks and, you know what I'm saying, the fastest way to get from point A to Z. Like, no, motherfucker, just put your head down and do the fucking work that's required. It's very fucking simple. Y'all try to make it so complicated. And I get it, because I used to overcomplicate this shit too. Like, I used to try to find shortcuts and back doors and this, that. And it's like, nah, man. You're going to spend years trying to find shortcuts or like the fastest way to get from here to there. When it's like, you could get to your goal in a fraction of the amount of time if you just do the fucking work. Do the work that you're fucking avoiding. You know what the work is that you're avoiding. You know what it is. I don't even need to sit here and fucking try to, get you to figure it out. You know what it is. You're just like, oh, well, like, I don't really feel like it today, man. And like, oh, like, I'm tired and my body is a little sore. No, motherfucker, like, you're just avoiding shit. So stop doing that.
So let's really talk about it. The law of momentum says that once something starts moving, it becomes easier to keep moving. Energy builds, speed increases. Progress compounds, but the hard part is the start. All right. The early days when no one is watching, the season where you're pouring in and nothing is pouring back, the nights where you're editing videos at 2 a.m. and waking up feeling like, is it even working? It is, Rych Babes. It is. But right now, you are just in the building right now, okay? You're in the building. You're just building traction, and that traction always feel heavy at first. Like think about pushing a car. The first push feels so impossible, but once those wheels starts turning, once it rolls just a little, it gets a little lighter, faster, more powerful. That's momentum. You understand? You don't need to go viral tomorrow. You don't. You don't need $1 million setup. You just need to keep showing up with intention. Okay? You need to trust that what you've been doing today will pay you back when the moment is right. Because here's what no one is telling you. Most successful stories aren't about the skill. They're about persistence and, of course, consistency, but persistence as well. It is not that they were better than you, it's just that they kept going longer than most. And right now, you're in the momentum season, that uncomfortable, quiet, often thankless season where you're being built behind the scenes. But, Rich Babe, when your call comes, when that one opportunity shows up, when that door opens, everything that you've been doing will start compounding all at once. And people will say she blew up overnight. You'll know that you built the pressure behind the scenes. You stacked the days that no one saw. You showed up when it didn't make any sense. So don't give up right now, because once the law of momentum kicks in, you won't be able to stop the blessings from flowing to you. You hear me? It's going to be chasing you. You hear me? Okay? So keep uploading, keep pitching, all right? Keep writing, keep building, keep doing whatever you're doing, keep praying, keep trusting that it's going to work out, because it is if you just keep going. Because momentum does not show up until you earn it. Because momentum doesn't show up until you've earned it. And when it does, it's going to change everything. Do you hear me? Okay, so if you're ready to stay consistent and align with your energy, with your purpose, make sure you grab my $10 ebook, Becoming Her. It is not just a guide, it is a reset for your whole glow up identity. And if you are ready to commit to the mindset that builds that momentum, for real, join the waitlist for the Rich Mindset Mastery course, girly. I can't wait to drop it. It is your next level. Okay, make sure that you check out richmilanco.com for more information on the course. So be the woman who walks in the room and make people wonder. Secure the bag, protect your peace, and stay rich, rich babes. Love you.